One thing about me is when I was 19, I moved into my first home, but my address leaked. It became a big problem because fans were showing up and my neighbors were like, James, what the fuck? So I tweeted and I said that I loved my fans, but not at my house. That is not appropriate. Well, that backfired really fast because later on that night, I got spotted. What does that mean? You're probably asking. Well, don't worry. I'm going to tell ya. It was 3 a.m. and I was sleeping when I was awoken by pounding on my door, and I thought, oh my fucking God, if this is a fan, I am going to commit a crime on my front porch. Well, it turns out it was not a fan at all. It was the SWAT team at my house. Well, I walked down the stairs in my underwear, and before I got to the door, I looked out the window and there were several policemen running by with massive shields and massive guns. Yes, there was a red dot on my forehead and I was going to die. At that point, I was already crying, but I opened up my door and I said, what is going on? And the officer said, get on the ground! So I got on the ground and said, there's nothing here. And he said, how many hostages are in this house? And I said, 0. There are no hostages. It's me and my roommate and my little dog. And he said, where's the bomb? And I said, sir, there is no bomb and there are no hostages either. I'm a YouTuber and my address leaked. And he said, I don't believe that. We need to search the house. He put me and my roommate in handcuffs and pulled us outside in my underwear. We sat on the curb for 3 hours while we were waiting for them to search my house. Thank God that my neighbors came outside and they told the police that we were fine. So fuck whoever called the police claiming we had bombs and hostages. It was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life, and after that I moved.
Actually, no, let me tell you the whole story of how I got yelled at so badly at my old job that a customer who was eating at the restaurant at the time overheard the whole thing and then offered me a job with him because he felt that bad for me, right? I was 16 and I worked at a pub. This table comes in, I sit them down. There's like 6 people, right? They tell me that they are celiac and that any gluten-free item that they order off the menu has to genuinely be gluten-free. Now, I know that I work in a fucking shithole and that there is going to be gluten everywhere, on everything, right? I've seen the chef previously like dump a whole fucking chicken fillet on a veggie meal and then just like, I'm like, that's veggie, and then they take the chicken off, right? Like, they're not careful, they don't give a fuck in the kitchen, right? I go down to the kitchen, menu in hand, I point at the meal that they want and I say, chef, can you please make this gluten-free, right? They're celiac. He yanks me and the menu across the bar divider where you put the food and he goes, gluten fucking free, you fucking bleep. I cut that word out because it's a slur, right? The kitchen is not very far away from the main dining area. I'm talking like literally 3 steps away, right? So I know that the entire restaurant has just heard what's gone down in here. I take the menu back, I say, thank you, chef. And I walk around and I turn up and I'm greeted by about 50 eyes, right? The whole restaurant has just heard what's gone on. My manager, my co-workers, my mother who was sat at the bar having a drink, and about 50 strangers, right? And they're all looking, it's silence. You could hear a fucking pin drop. I walk to the waitress station, I pick up a pad and a pen and I start writing gibberish down. I'm just trying not to cry because if I look at a single person, if I say a single word, I'm going to fucking bawl my eyes out. He yelled at me so bad. My manager comes up to me, and I liked my manager at this point, and he says, are you okay? And I just literally told him to fuck off, and I walk back to the table. I just want to do my job. I just want to, you know, thug it out. I go back to my table and I say, I'm really sorry. He can't make it gluten-free for you because I don't trust. He's not going to make this shit gluten-free. They're going to fucking die, right? I say, I'm really sorry. He can't make it gluten-free for you. They start yelling at me. Like, they didn't just fucking hear what I've been through. They start yelling at me. And as I'm stood there, the most horrifying thing happens, I can't help it. A tear rolls down my cheek. Yes, no, a real tear, a real liquid tear rolls down my cheek and my chin starts wobbling. And one of the daughters, I think she was about 20, she notices and she tells her mum to stop. I then give them directions to a nice place, which is like literally a minute down the road. They can walk there. I'm like, look, they're gonna take care of you there. Just run for your fucking lives, because I swear if you eat here, you will die. It's that simple, like you'll die. Like most people that eat here die. You will definitely fucking die. Anyway, I then bawled my eyes out for a good 20 minutes in the toilet. I was unconsolably crying, right? Not like, oh, I'm sad, like I'm having a fucking panic attack. I was so freaked out. Like this is a big man screaming at me and I was a frail 16-year-old, remember? And then a man saw everything go down, he offered me a job, and then I worked for him until I got fired. That was the only time I've ever been fired. He didn't really fire me, he just called me a twat and said, you can't work for me anymore, you never turn up. And I said,
everyone, if you're new, welcome! If you're not new, you know what fucking time it is, bitch! It's time for part 2 of the fuck-ass daily scream. If you missed part 1, go watch it. If not, I don't think it really fucking matters! However, as many of you know, I have a batshit crazy, scary fucking neighbor, and I told all of you that I thought she was spying on me through a plant. And a lot of you guys have been wondering, how the fuck was she spying on you through a plant? Bitch, let me tell you! So about a month after I move in, I get a knock on my door, right? It's my neighbor, and she gives me a really pretty fucking plant. I put it in my living room, I keep it there, and all of a sudden my apartment starts getting fucking reported. Noise complaint after noise complaint after fucking noise complaint! And the leasing office got in contact with me and said they were receiving audio files of how loud my TV was. And I was like, shit is not adding up. Like, what the fuck is happening? I threw away that fuck-ass plant! Suddenly, my apartment got reported less, and there were no audio files! That bitch is gonna murder me, I'm not.
One thing about me is when I was 16, I was going to high school. Just like every teen, I was chilling in the class with like 15 people. I was fasting for Ramadan. There was no Muslim people at my school. Pretty much everyone was white. So when they saw me in the class, they thought it wasn't right. At the end of the class, it was time for lunch. But remember, I am fasting, so I cannot munch. So I go to the library, not the cafeteria, and there was nobody there, so it was a very nice area. The librarian called my name. She said, what you're doing here? I told her, Habibti, don't you worry, there is no one eating here. She told me, you need to leave, you're not allowed at this time. I told her, darling, I am fasting, so please let it slide. She got angry, she got loud, she said, get the hell out. I told her, you can keep on screaming, cause I'm not walking out. Her face was red, so I know that she's about to explode, and it was at this time her true color showed. She finally called me a stupid immigrant. I'm like, oh my Allah, you're gonna regret this incident. So I ran to the office to tell the principal. I'm like, how the hell did you hire this imbecile? The next day she wasn't there, so I thought she got fired, but I come to find out that she really retired. Stupid teacher.
Last night I had a child/teenage girl encounter with a woman, and I cannot stop thinking about it. I will not stop thinking about it. What happened was, me and my friend were walking out the pub, and there's this big tree outside the pub that everyone knows smells like. And it turns out she didn't know this, so I tell her to sniff the tree, and then this woman walks past, and she's a little bit drunk, so she stops to talk to us. She goes, what are you guys doing? And I turn to her with a blank face, and I say, this tree smells like... And she looks at me, and she goes, she looks at my friend. She goes, how old are you guys? And I look at her, and I say, I'm 22. And she looks at me and she goes, well, I'm 24. And believe me, at 22, I was not doing this. And I look at her baffled. And I think, what? But like in primary school, when a year 3 says to a year 2, I'm year 3, so I know that year 2s can't do these monkey bars. I looked at her. I thought, what? I felt like she had just put me in a creche and told me to fuck off. You're not allowed to know what that smells like. You're only 22. I thought I was allowed to play with the big kids. Shagging one of the big kids. What's going on? I can't stop thinking about it. What do you mean you weren't doing that at 22? I feel like a baby.
It's about damn time. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fabulous. Cause I...
You guys remember how I told you about my crazy upstairs neighbor? Guess who's almost 100% sure that she saw the videos I made about her? Me! me! Hi everyone, if you're new, welcome! If you're not, you know, fucking time it is, bitch! It's time for the Daily Scream. So yeah, if you missed it, my upstairs neighbor kind of reported my apartment like 1,000 times. But every time she reported my apartment, it wasn't because of my screaming. It was because she said I was playing my TV too loud, or I was closing my cabinets too loud. And on 2 occasions, she sent in a noise complaint about my apartment, and I wasn't even home! Anyways, I made some funny videos about her, and I'm pretty sure she saw my videos. Because when I tell you I haven't heard a peep from her in weeks, no noise complaints. Remember how I told you guys every morning I woke up to what sounded like her doing Zumba in her living room? Or her jumping around on furniture playing The Floor is Lava? That also hasn't happened in weeks. So if you're my neighbor and you saw my videos talking shit about you, I really hope there aren't any hard feelings, you know?
Am I the asshole for picking my child up from a sleepover because the family has a bath day? So I'll start by saying that I don't think I'm the asshole in this situation, but I was told I am because I didn't respect the family's household rules. But I'll give a little background before telling the story. I have a son named Jason who's 8 years old, and he has a best friend named Brandon. The boys have been attached at the hip since they were in daycare. Brandon's mom, Ashley, and I are friendly and speak frequently because of the boys. I normally don't let my kids stay over at other places, but I've always allowed Brandon to stay at my home because his mom doesn't have this rule. Not sure if it matters, but the reason I don't allow my children to stay over at friends' houses at this young age is because I feel like at that age, they are still pretty dependent on their parents. Plus, my children usually don't ask to stay over. They ask if their friends can stay at our place, which I don't mind since we have the space and all the fun things that kids enjoy. Okay, so on to the story. Last weekend, I broke a rule and let my son stay over at Brandon's home. 1, because he asked, and 2, because my daughter was at my mother's for the weekend, so I thought me and my husband could have a weekend to ourselves. While enjoying some adult time with my husband, Jason called me and said that he wanted to come home, but he was whispering, so I could tell something was up. I asked him why and what was wrong, and he said that Ashley wouldn't allow him to take a shower because it wasn't a bath day.
I really want to spend thousands of pounds on one of those reborn dolls, you know, the hyper-realistic doll toys. They're not even toys, they are so fucking realistic and they weigh like 10 pounds. And I think it's because I genuinely have a traumatic experience from when I was younger, right? When I was in like year 5 or year 6 at school, I became friends with this one singular cool kid, and she would let me tag along and like be friends with her friends, but we both knew that I was at the very bottom of the pecking order. And I was fine with it. I was just thrilled to be there. I remember one day they were playing at my house and I played with dolls until I was a little bit too old to play with dolls. I mean, I'm 22 and I still want to play with them, but like I was like 10 years old and had a doll that I like mothered every single day of my life. But it was a secret. Like I knew that I was a little bit too old to be doing that, so I would keep it a secret and I would keep her tucked away in my bedroom, and then I would come home from school and change her diaper. Anyway, one day they're playing in my room and they find this fucking doll and they like start taking the piss, and I get really upset and I locked myself in the bathroom because I was so embarrassed with the doll. And then they were at the door and they were like, you can come out, like we're sorry, like we won't take the piss, like you can play with your doll out here. And I was like, no. I even remember being in the bathroom so clearly and tucking my doll into bed in the airing cupboard that we had in there, and then they were like, my friends were banging on the door like, are you okay, you can come out, we won't make fun of you. And I was like, I low-key just want you guys to fuck off because now I'm playing with my doll. Like I wasn't gonna play with her, but now I'm playing with her. And so I think I have some issues to resolve. I don't know, I fucking love dolls. The girl that made fun of me for having that toy and made me feel bad about it is actually the biggest, most rancid cunt bitch that I know in the entire world. Like in this day and age, she is a rancid cunt bitch slag, and I hate her. And honestly, what a prophecy. Like I should have known.
Guess who had to yell at a grown-ass man in the middle of the street last night because he wouldn't stop harassing him and his fucking friends? OMG me! Hi everyone, if you're new, welcome! If you're not new, you know what fuck-ass fucking time it is, bitch. It's time for the Daily Scream, okay? So last night, my friends and I went out, and while we were out, one of my friends pointed out this gross, disgusting, short, balding man, because wherever we were, he would just show up and he would start taking pictures of us. It was disgusting, like it was gross. We would leave one bar, turn around, see him following us out, see him following us on the sidewalk, and then eventually we were getting into our Uber, and he tried to touch my friend's arm, and I flipped the fuck out. So I literally was like, get the fuck away. And he was like, no, let me come in the Uber with you guys. And I kept saying no, and this man would not stop. So I literally started screaming at him in the middle of the street. And I was like, leave us alone, you're gross, get away. And he was like, no. I literally had to push him back and slam the door. Bitch, no means no, you
I am never going to the gym again. I will never show my face in the gym again. The most embarrassing fucking shit happened to me! I decided I wanted to go to the gym, you know, be productive, be healthy. Should have just stayed in bed eating a bag of Cheetos, but no, I wanted to be productive. Finished doing laundry and I just went and I grabbed a t-shirt and sweatpants and got in the car, drove to the gym. Get to the gym, I start working out. I'm using the elliptical that's in the middle of the room and the gym's packed. Like 35 minutes into my workout and I'm just getting a whole bunch of people staring at me. I'm like, why are you staring at me? Like, do you recognize me from TikTok? Is that it? Is that I'll sign autographs later? But no, that's not why they were staring at me. Then all of a sudden, while I'm like, as you can see, sweating profusely, this lady comes up to me and she's like, sweetie, you might want to go to the bathroom. Why? I don't have to pee. She's like, you have something stuck on your pants. I what now? Thinking I'm getting recognized on TikTok? No. I had a fucking neon blue underwear stuck to the back of my ass. For about 35 minutes. In the middle of the gym. Excuse me while I go die in a hole now. Thank you.
I don't have much Spanish, but the little bit of Spanish that I do have allowed me to understand that my taxi driver called me a slag on the phone to his mate Carlos at 9 a.m. this morning, which I would argue is a little bit out of pocket. I'd also like everyone to know that I got a 4 a.m. flight out of Gatwick to Ibiza this morning, and next to me on the flight were two girls with curlers in their hair, and they were pre-drinking. As far as I gathered, they're going to the Ocean Club at 1 p.m. today. They have no accommodation booked for their entire stay in Ibiza. They somehow plan to go to Barcelona with no transportation booked, and all they have is spare underwear shoved into their purses. I love them. But I'm also terrified of them, and at one point one of the girls asked to get by me to go to the toilet, and I literally went, it's fine. Anyways, now I'm in Ibiza. Don't know why.
I don't know if anyone else had those girls in middle school who would make bracelets and somehow manage to spell out your name in the string while making the bracelet. But when I was in middle school, a girl charged me $20 for a custom bracelet with my name in it. And at the time, I was like, bitch, damn, $20 fucking for a bracelet with my name in it? I can get that at the Hallmark store. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Bitch, I just started making bookmarks for the books I'm reading. I'm currently reading Misery by Stephen King, and this is the first book where I decided to spell out the name of the book in the bookmark. Guess how long this fucked up M took me? A fucking hour, bitch! I also have graph paper so I know which string to put over which string to form out the fucking letter M. Let me fucking tell you something, bitch. If I were to travel back in time and make some snotty-nosed kid a custom bracelet with their name in it, I would charge them minimum $100 fucking. I'm not joking. We had it easy. Those girls who made us those bracelets, you're fucking heroes, because you should have been charging way more. Let me tell you that.